All right, so let's start. Well, as you know, the tools we have are made to solve problems, and this applies actually everywhere. Man-made tools to help him solve issues since early ages, right? So this is actually true for everything, for mechanics, for, I don't know, dentists, for cardiologists, for surgeons, etc. Each profession has like its own set of tools, right? So when we are trying to solve a privacy or a security issue, we do have some tools that we can help us, and these are meant to solve the following three problems. So first of all, we have, how can I make sure that my email is only read by the intended recipient? So let's say we are writing down a very confidential email that we want only one person to be able to open it, to read it. We don't want anyone else to have access to that email. We also don't want that person to send the email to somebody else. We need to keep that information confidential. This is not possible using regular email. If I send an email to another person, nothing will stop that person from resending the email to another guy. So this is one of the problems that PGP solves. The second problem here is, how can I control the confidentiality of a file after sharing it? So let's say I have a very important Word document or Excel spreadsheet. I send it over to my colleague, and then I practically lose track of the file. I don't know if he or she deleted the file after taking a look at it. I don't know if this person saved the file to a USB thumb drive. I don't know if this person sent this file to his personal cloud. Maybe it's just a work-related file, and maybe he sent this over to his own cloud backup. Or maybe, let's say that this person quits the organization and then takes this important file with him or her. This could be personal information. This can be trade secrets, business matters, procedures, etc. So this will be stopped by using PGP encryption. We'll explain this in a minute. And then we have another problem here. How can I make sure an email was written by the owner of the sender address? And this is very critical when we have scenarios where oppressive regimes are taking over arrested people's computers. I heard about a case in Iran where an activist was arrested, and the police was actually using this person's devices, and he was communicating with people in the United States. The guy in the US was actually very smart, and he was able to realize that his friend was not behind the keyboard, even though he was receiving emails from his friend back in Iran. The way he wrote was not the same. The topics, I don't know, like the way he expressed himself were not what he was used to. So he was able to realize that someone else was behind the keyboard. And well, with PGP encryption, we can make sure that the email was written by the owner of the account, because emails can be signed just like you sign checks or whatever. You can stamp your digital signature on an outgoing email, so the other person knows it's really coming from you. Then we have another problem we can solve with PGP encryption. That is, how can I lock my files so others cannot open them? Let's say you have an important file in your computer. You want to password protect this file. Maybe you do have a password to open your Windows account, but once your session is open, there might be a hack where an attacker can actually just take files out of your computer via the network, just remotely. But if your files are encrypted, then this other attacker cannot read the files or use your information there. So, and the other use you can actually benefit from is this following. How would I know that a downloaded file wasn't tampered with? Let's say that you are downloading a program or a report, you have a way with PGP encryption to know that the file is legitimate, that the file hasn't been altered in any way. So this is also important, especially when you are installing software. There have been hacks where attackers just manipulate the files you install on your computer so they can plant a virus and just sniff into your files or your network traffic. So this will be all solved by PGP encryption. If I'm going too fast, let me know. But as I said, this will be better explained in the practical part of the webinar. All right. As a quick recap, we did review encryption in webinar number 6, if I'm not mistaken. So just a quick recap, encryption is the process of scrambling data to ensure confidentiality. So data can only be decrypted by an authorized party. And well, PGP stands for pretty good privacy, which is the de facto standard for encryption for data, communications, emails, etc. And then we have OpenPGP, which is the free implementation of PGP. PGP was sold and acquired by the company, but a free, let's say, just an open standard was created that is called OpenPGP. And this works the following way. This is actually very critical for you to memorize so you can better understand how encryption works. There's always this pair of keys into play: the public key that share with people you want to exchange encrypted communications. And then, of course, you have the private key, which, I mean, the name is pretty obvious. It's private. You should not absolutely share it with anyone else. And you do have to make sure that this file sits on a secure location on your computer or externally. This diagram was taken from my webinar number 6. Just as a quick recap, this is how your communication looks when it's unencrypted. We have Jane and Alex, and then they are exchanging communication via emails, or maybe it's a phone call or text message. And this is Spy, the bad guy, right? Like hacker. If the communication is not encrypted, so we have guys from Cypher Chat. That's great. All right. So this is what the encrypted communication looks like. As you can see, the text is now unreadable. It's just a bunch of random characters. The hacker here is not happy. He cannot actually decipher what Jane and Alex are talking about. And if you see, Jane has her own private key by her side, as well as Alex, right? But Jane shared her public key to Alex and vice versa. Jane has Alex's public key. This is necessary so they can exchange encrypted emails. By the way, this set of PGP encryption keys will work for emails and some other encryption systems that we will actually talk about in some minutes. So, all right, so we will break down the session of today's session in 5 topics. The first one is use of PGP-based encryption tools. Then we have the creation of PGP keys. Then we have a very nice implementation of PGP encryption with Mailblog. I'm talking about this and I'm selecting Mailblog as an option because not all you guys use Proton Mail, and maybe you're not willing to change email providers, so Mailblog can come into play and you can add it on top of your Gmail or Outlook account. Then we have encrypting and decrypting files. And then we have a quick conversation about passphrases. All right, so we have several encryption tools, but pretty much they do the same. They can create your set of keys. They can manage your colleagues' keys just as a key manager. The same way you have your own set of keys for your home, for your office, or your car. Encryptions, so it's act the same way. You can have your own keys, and then you can have the public keys. Just imagine this, like this is like having keys to deposit email on your friend's mailbox. Same stuff, right? Every encryption suite can encrypt and decrypt files, and you always have the option to upload your public key to a server. So you don't have to actually know the person to exchange keys. You can just upload your key to a public server, and anyone can look up your name and download your key and send you encrypted communications. Of course, you have to validate that the key is owned by the person and not by any other imposter. Right. Okay, so this tool right here, this is a screenshot of a program called Cleopatra that is actually part of a bigger suite that is called GPG for Windows. This is the address you can download the tool from. I will share all the addresses at the end of the call. Pretty much, if you take a look at the screenshot, you have right on the bottom of the middle, you have the option to create a new set of keys, and you can also import existing keys. And if you look at the buttons on the top of the screen, you have the button to sign and to encrypt emails. And you can also import keys, decrypt and verify files. You can look up on server for people's keys, etc. And pretty much all the tools have the same functionality. They look pretty much the same. This is a popular solution for Mac, GPG Suite. It looks better. It's user friendly. It has less buttons. It has a button to create a new set of keys, to import them, to export them, and to look for other people's keys. To create a new key, it's pretty much the same process in every suite. Just enter your name, email, password, confirm, and that's it. And then we have this solution that is browser based. This can work on Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, and Mozilla Firefox. And of course, this is available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. So there's nothing to stop you from using Mailblog. And if you have a Mac or a Linux computer, or Windows computer, you can use Mailblog. All right, so let's go over the steps of how to create your own set of PGP keys so you can start using encryption. As I said, the process, it's pretty much the same for every tool. On the left-hand side, we have the screen for Cleopatra. That's a Windows-based tool. Then on the middle, we have the screen for Mac. And on the right-hand side, we have the Mailblog screenshot. So it's pretty much the same. You enter your email, your name, you create a password, and that's it. Just an important note, of course, do not use the same password as your mailbox, because that defies the purpose, right? Remember that a good practice is to have a different password for each platform. So please don't forget what this password is, because if you do, no one will be able to help you to reset this password. This is only known to you, and this is the basis of encryption. The cryptographic process will take the randomness of your password to create, like, the whole encryption works based on mathematical algorithms on top of your password. So make sure that's a nice password. Okay. All right. So this is how Mailblog works. As I told you, it's a browser extension. It adds a layer of PGP encryption to your existing email address, and this works mainly for Gmail, Outlook, and Yahoo. Chances are you use any of these three main email providers. They have the most biggest combined market share. You might have another email provider. If so, Mailblog will not work, but chances are you actually at least have an email or an Outlook account. Some of you may have a Yahoo account as well. As I said, this works for Chrome, Edge, and Firefox. And you can also actually import existing keys from other suites. If you already have Cleopatra or GPG tools for Mac, you can actually use those same PGP keys and put them into Mailblog. And of course, with Mailblog, you can also decrypt and encrypt files. And this is what the Mavlog extension looks in your browser. On the left-hand side, you have the button to manage keys. This is where you have your own key pair and your friends. Then you have encryption, where you can encrypt or decrypt files. Then you have some other features that are not so useful for this use case. If you look at the top menu on the screen, you have key management, encrypt, decrypt, and options. Whether in options, you can change stuff as the background color of the screen. You can actually select which server you want to upload your keys to, etc., and some other settings. Okay, now when this adds on top of your Gmail account, this is actually what it looks like. When you get an encrypted email, you are not able to read it right away. You're presented with this envelope, and you have to click the M to be able to get the message, and then you have to enter your password. So let's stop right here and think about it. You have, let's say you are in your office or at your house. So the first line of defense is the outside door. So you have a lock and you have your keys. Then you have to be able to enter your home or your office, and then you reach the computer. The computer ideally should have a password, right? So you have to enter your computer password. Then you have to enter your email password, and then maybe you have two-factor authentication, which is good. And then you have to enter the password to decrypt the message. So as you can see, as it has like many layers of security. The more, the better, of course. We don't want to overcomplicate stuff, but this is actually very natural when you are used to it. You really don't think about it very much. If you do not enter any password, the email will look like this. It's unreadable. And if someone else, by any reason, gets access to your emails, they will just look at the random characters. This is super important. If your device is seized unlawfully by authorities, let's say you are in the field covering a demonstration, social unrest, or whatnot, and the military, the police, whoever confiscates your device, and let's say you left your phone unlocked, or maybe you are forced to unlock your device, all your emails will be unreadable. Same situation if by any chance the government wants Gmail to surrender your emails, and if Gmail somehow is must actually comply because of whatever regulations or law in place, they won't have anything to share because all your emails are encrypted. At the same time, if an email is sent to you, and then you, for some reason, resend the email to anybody else, then that other person will not have the private key to decrypt the email. So they won't be able to open it. Same situation goes the other way around. If you send an email to a person, and then that person resends the email, that other third party will not be able to read it because he or she won't have the private key to decrypt the message. So that's actually super important, and you can use this when you communicate with sources or when you are exchanging super confidential information. You can also use this as part of your journalistic process in your newspaper organization, or if you have a media outlet, you can actually exchange emails like this. And you can also use this kind of encryption to encrypt files and hold folders, actually. So this is how you encrypt files with Mailblog, and it works pretty much The same with the other tools. You just go to the Mavlog extension on your browser. You hit encrypt, then you actually select the name you want to encrypt this for. Let's say if I want to send an encrypted file to Jorge Luis or to Luis Botello, if I have their public keys, then their names will be searchable on this recipient bar. I can just start typing their names, they will autocomplete, and then I can encrypt the data and send it over. And actually, you can actually take advantage of this because you can actually send encrypted files via insecure methods. Maybe I can send this encrypted file on a USB thumb drive. Nothing will happen if this USB thumb drive gets stolen or lost. The file will be protected with PGP encryption. You can also send this over with a regular email account. Like, you don't really have to integrate Mailblog into your email. You can just use this to encrypt and decrypt. Of course, you do have to create your keys. If you by any chance do not want to add this on top of your Gmail account, Outlook, or Yahoo, you can just use this to encrypt and decrypt files and send them over to email or any other means. With Cleopatra, with the Windows tool, you just right-click on the file and select Sign and Encrypt. This will create an encrypted copy of such file. And then you can actually use that encrypted copy and upload it to your cloud backup. That way you will have secured copies of your files. You won't have to worry about that much about contents. They will be protected with PGP encryption. So let's say if you are using Google Drive or OneDrive, which, by the way, none of those are end-to-end encrypted, you can actually use them in a more secure way by uploading encrypted copies of your files. And then this is how Cleopatra looks on this big blank white space, is where you will have your set of keys, your own and your friends. And the buttons here are, as I told you, to send encrypt messages, to decrypt files, etc. All right, I will give you a brief explanation of passphrases, and then we will jump back to the PGP topic. All right. I made this table using human generated passwords, which, by the way, are real passwords. These passwords were leaked on the open internet. Of course, I'm not revealing who owned the passwords, but I actually wanted to use a small collection of real passwords so you can see how complex they are. And this of course will come into play when it comes to hackers cracking those passwords. The lower the entropy number, the worse. So we have here all these 7 passwords are in a red state, meaning their entropy is poor. If you see here, even if you use capital letters and numbers, the entropy is still poor. This is why nowadays using just a password by its own, it's not a secure thing to do at all. That's why we always try to convince you to use the 2 steps of authentication, because the password by its own, it's not going to be enough to protect your account. There are a lot of ways, a lot of utilities in Linux that hackers can use to crack passwords. So these human-generated passwords are not strong whatsoever. If you start selecting random stuff as your password, of course the entropy will increase, and this will start to look good. But let's be real, there's no way you will memorize many passwords like this, right? Nobody will be able to remember 5 of these random passwords. Some of these passwords have some characters that you have to enter doing a combination of keys in your keyboard. This is actually difficult to type. It's better because the entropy value is larger, but it's not practical to have a different password for your accounts that look like this. So what's the solution? To use passphrases. This might sound unnatural because, I mean, these are just regular words, but at the end of the day, the randomness that these kind of passphrases have are actually much, much greater than a human-generated password. Of course, if you are using a passphrase as your password, you have to pick words that are unrelated to each other. Maybe maybe somehow you know the relationship that these words have between each other, but for another party, they will make no sense whatsoever. And you will actually increase the entropy if you mix languages. Let's say that you put 4 words in English and 1 in Spanish, or 1 in French, or 1 in Arabic, or 1 in Chinese, etc. Like the more random this passphrase is, the better. As you can see, if you use a passphrase that is 6 words long with the entropy, it's still okay, but it doesn't look like that much better. Only until you increase and use 7 words, then the value enters a good and actually an excellent zone. And if you use 8 words, then the randomness of this password is excellent. I will share with you guys the tool I used to measure the entropy for these passwords. So, quick recap: you do have to have a strong password or passphrase to safeguard your accounts, and this is super true if you are using a password manager. A password manager is just a computer program where you can put all your passwords. You can encrypt them, but you have to secure them with a super strong password. This way you only have to remember 1 password, and then you will be able to access the rest of your accounts. All right, so I will stop sharing this screen, and I will start sharing my other virtual keyboard. I would like to know if you have questions up until now. Feel free to drop them on the Q&A section on Zoom. If not, I will just go right over the other practical side of the webinar. We still have, all right, I don't have so many time left. I only have like 10 minutes because I will allocate the last 10 to have a conversation. So, all right. Okay, good. Okay, so this is a virtual desktop I have. I want to show you how Mailblog looks in real life. The screen that I have on my right-hand side is just a regular email account with no encryption. I sent an email to myself. Well, actually, not to myself. I sent an email from my Jorge Sebastian account to this account, to this dummy account that I named John. So John received an email from Jorge, and of course, this screen on the right-hand side does not have Mavlog installed. So this is what the email looks like. Oh, well, actually, let me correct myself. This email was sent, I sent this email to myself, and then I forwarded a copy to John, just to let you know that John will not be able to read email because he doesn't have, this imaginary friend doesn't have the keys to the message. So he will be not able to read the message. All right. So first of all, I'm gonna log into my other account. So step number 1, I have to enter my password. And for this, instead of typing the password, I do have the password manager that looks like this. This is a program where you can save all your passwords. You don't have to type them in each time. And you can also select these to create super complex passwords that you don't need to memorize. Before logging into my Gmail account, I will actually show you really quick how this works. So I press the add button, I select the platform. Let's say I'm creating the entry for Instagram. All right. So let's say my Instagram is John Doe, and let's say that I'm going to establish a super strong password from here. So I can use this program to create a passphrase for me. So it can be either a passphrase or a password. And this is the entropy label right here. It says 168. If I decrease the number of characters, so with entropy, same with passphrases. If I lower the amount of words, the entropy will be low. So I'm going to increase that to 8 words. Now it looks excellent. I can apply the password, and then I can log into Instagram, enter my actual password, and then change it. And then I can just copy the password from program. I hit OK. I can just right click and copy the password and then put it on Instagram. By the way, this program, well, not exactly this program, but a similar program is actually available for your phone. So you can do this on your phone. So let me go back to the email. So I'm selecting here my Gmail account and copying the password. I paste it here, hit next. Of course, I do have 2 steps of authentication. So I'm going to use my phone. And then I will open my Google Authenticator screen. Of course, I'm not going to share that with you guys. All right, so put in the code here. All right. Okay, great. So this is on the left-hand side, I have Jorge's account, my own account, and on the right-hand side, I have John's account. I see a question here. Okay, I have a question from a participant. Can your password manager and everything else get compromised if your laptop or desktop is seized by law enforcement agencies? Well, yes, it can be compromised, but the thing is, the encryption level for your password manager is super high. It uses, if I'm not mistaken, AES 256 encryption. As long as your password is okay, law enforcement agencies will take forever to crack your password manager. And actually, a lifetime will not be even good enough. So rest assured, most likely your password manager won't be cracked. At least not with the technology we have now, and maybe not even with quantum computing. It looks like AES 256 encryption is here to stay, at least for the next 30 years. Of course, if you select the super easy password, maybe. Protections to take, use a good passphrase. I think that'll be okay. Use a good passphrase and just follow regular steps. Maybe you can add your fingerprint, your password manager, or you can have a strong password for your computer, plus maybe facial recognition or your fingerprint. All right. Good. Okay, so this is the encrypted email I sent to myself. Now, right here, Mavlog is showing me the little M. I can click it, and then after a while, it's gonna come up and it'll ask me for my password. So I'm able to read the email. I still have the ability to send regular emails with the compose button, and I can also then go back. I can also hit the M, and then I have the following screen right here, and I can enter my friends or colleagues' email addresses as long as they have their public key. So right here, I have the border center's public PGP key. I can send them an encrypted email. So this goes like this. This is an example, and this is the body of the email method. All right. Just keep in mind the following. The subject, this line right here, is not encrypted. The only thing that will be encrypted is the message itself, like the body of the email, and any files that you add to your email. So I'm going to add this unencrypted document right here. I'm hitting open, and then this email will be sent to the border center. Oh, by the way, I can also sign the message. Right here, I can sign the message as myself. So the border center knows I am the real Jorge behind the keyboard. So I can hit submit. And then you just have to enter your password so you can confirm that you are the real owner of this PGP key. Of course, for Mavlog to work, you have to give the app permissions. This is not shown here because I already set up Mavlog for this account. But on this other side, on this other account, I don't have the M next to the compose button because I have not added the Mavlog extension to this other email account. All right, so if I go to this button right here on top, the one that looks like a puzzle piece, I can go over to my file extensions. I can click on Mavlog, and then I can go to the dashboard. And this is the way the software looks like. If I click on the key manager, my default keys are on the lower part of the screen. The little icon of the two keys, it's on the left-hand side. It says default because that's my default PGP key. As you can see, there's something called key ID, which is a string that will not be the same for two keys, even if they are under the same name on email. No key address is the same. This is the same as, let's say, as your credit card number. There are no two credit cards with the same name. Each of them are unique. This is the same stuff. There are no two phone numbers that are the same. When you get a PGP key from a friend, just make sure to validate at least the last 8 characters of the key so you have the right key. Of course, people can try to fool you to send an encrypted email to a bad actor under the disguise of the real person. So just make sure that you verify the key ID using another way. You can phone your colleague, you can send a WhatsApp message, you can actually just give them a phone call, etc. This is the button to generate keys. As I said, you just need to enter your email name and your password, and you can export your keys to use them on a different software. You have also the option to encrypt in the Encrypt Files. I'm going to select a file that I encrypted some minutes ago, which is this one right here. This is the encrypted copy, encrypted document. I hit open, I hit decrypt, and then it will ask me for my password. I just have to enter the password, and then the program will give me an option to save the decrypted file to my computer. So this is the way how Mailblog works. This is the website where you download the other tool. We'll actually go over really quick right now. I'm running out of time. And this is the website for the tool for Mac computers. So the other piece of software I would like to show you really quick is this one right here, which is part of the Windows suite. You can see it's pretty much the same as the other window. I have on my set of keys right here on the bottom, I have the border center public key right here. I have the option to create a new key pair. The process is pretty much the same. Name and email address, etc. And the keys will actually look like this. I will show you. I'm going to open my file explorer. All right. So check this out. This key, this file right here, has my name, and then it has an underscore, and then it is print. That's a private key. The public key is right down below. This is pub for public. Then I have the border center's public key as well. You can actually open these files with a text editor, so you can see how they look. So I'm gonna open this with Notepad. So this is really the way the keys look in the real world. I mean, of course, they are files, but they have these scrambled text. When you import when you import keys, you can also just copy and paste the text for the key, or you can just select the file and work with it. Okay, I still have just maybe 1 or 2 minutes before we quickly go over to questions. Maybe I can show you how this can be used to protect files on your drive. This is my drive here. For this account, this is the encrypted document. As you can see, if I double click it, the Google Cloud will be able to show me the message. But if I select the encrypted file from my computer, which is this one right here. Yeah, hold on. I have to encrypt the file again. Well, I have to right click here, and then, oh no, this is the encrypted file as well. Okay, so I'm uploading this encrypted file, and as you can see, it has no preview. If I double click the file, there's no preview available because the Google Drive software does not have the keys to my message, so it cannot show what its contents are. So this is the way you can take advantage of PGP. You can use just regular tools such as your Google Drive or Outlook Drive and upload encrypted copies of your files. We only have like 5 minutes for questions. I'm sorry it took so long. If you have questions, feel free to put them on the Q&A button. Otherwise, I can give the word out to Jorge Luis or Luis Botello if they have any other comments or questions.
There are a couple of questions, Sebastian. One is the Q&A tool. Mm-hmm. I can see one question, and then I can see another question in the chat.
It says,
okay,
can you share that? Yeah, I'm going to read it out loud. Can you share that whether the PGP key is needed on both sides or just one? Do you need the PGP key on both sides? To be able to exchange messages, you do have to have the two parties using PGP encryption, because you have to have each other's public key so you can send messages to each other. For instance, when you are a ProtonMail user, the emails on your mailbox are encrypted. But if you send an email to a non-ProtonMail user, then when the email reaches its destination, it's not going to have encryption because that other person does not have a set of PGP keys. That's why when you send email between ProtonMail users, that email will actually be encrypted all the way back and forth. And actually, the real stuff going behind the scenes in ProtonMail is just the creation and use of PGP keys. That's why it might be the easier option just to use ProtonMail. You can actually like import all of your mails in Google and just start using ProtonMail. But yeah, you do have to have encryption on both sides. Fortunately, when you create your key right here, there's a little checkbox right here that says upload public key to the Mailblog key server. This is super useful because, for example, you can ask your colleague to follow the same process right here to generate his own key. Then when you go back to your email, I closed it up. Well, when you go back to your email and click on the M, and then you have the green screen where you have the field to enter the name. If you put your colleague's name, you'll actually look for his key. So that's the way you can actually start to communicate with each other. Just have each person generate his own key, and then boom, you're ready to be able to exchange encrypted emails. Yeah, we have 4 minutes. Okay, it says, does this protect against programs such as Pegasus? Well, in a certain way, because let's say, like, we don't really know that much about Pegasus, but what I can actually tell you is that Pegasus somehow resides on the volatile memory of your phone. Most likely, or as far as we know, if you turn your phone down, the Pegasus infection will be over. So let's say if you have implemented this kind of encryption to your phone, your emails won't live in an unencrypted state. So if you are, let's say your phone is sitting on the desk, on your table, on your bedroom, or whatever, and let's say some government has remote access to your phone, they might not be able to read your emails because they need you to enter the password, right? So if you are not there manipulating your phone, then, well, chances are it's not going to be possible unless they have a way to capture what you're typing. Then the answer might be yes. Just remember, all these practices and tools will not eliminate the risk 100%. What we try to do with the following tools is just to minimize the risk and lower the probability to have an incident. But just keep in mind, there is not absolute security. There's even a computer being turned off, it can have its information extracted. Believe it or not, if you somehow energize certain circuits remotely, you can actually retrieve the contents of the RAM memory somehow. So, I mean, there's no absolute way to protect ourselves against Pegasus. We don't know exactly how that works. We know just a little bit of it from investigations. After the Pegasus project, publications that The Guardian and other newspapers released, it opened our eyes a lot to us security researchers, because we were able to analyze how this software worked. There's actually a tool you can use to scan your own phone and see if it has Pegasus or not. And somehow researchers were able to figure out how Pegasus worked, at least up until, I believe, late 2020. So, I mean, a year and a half have passed. We don't know if there are some other tricks they have under their hands, but at least this is the most secure we can be at the present time. Harleys, we just have 1 minute if you want to wrap up, or Elizabeth.
Okay, yes, thank you so much, Jorge Sebastian. This is great information, as one of the participants told a few minutes ago. We need to understand that encryption is a tool to protect the data, and then any other hacking attempt or attempt to hack the computer or a mobile phone can be successful if you have your information protected by encryption, by asymmetric encryption. So this is perhaps the most important tool for any reporter, for any journalist, or any human rights defenders to have and to take. So encryption is the latest layer of defense. So you can have strong passwords, you can have the second step authentication, but if your information is encrypted at the end, nobody will be able to have access to that information. if that person doesn't have the key. So thank you so much, Sebastian. I'm gonna just ask my colleague Luis Botello just to close the series of webinars.
Thank you, Jorge Luis. Thank you, Jorge Sebastian. That was very interesting. I just want to thank everybody for joining us in this series of webinars. We are concluding today. It has been a great pleasure to have you for several weeks.